Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So one topic that I literally get asked about probably more than anything else, and especially recently, is how did I get started on YouTube, and do I have any tips for people who are new to YouTube or who are thinking about starting a channel? So I thought I would put together a video with some tips that I could refer people to. Let me just clarify, this is not a video about how to be successful on YouTube. This isn't how to get a lot of subscribers or a lot of views. This is specifically just advice that would have been helpful for me when I was first starting out my channel. I started my YouTube channel at the end of 2012, so I have been doing it now for a little over 2 years. So I'm just going to share some things that I've picked up here and there over the years that I think might be helpful for you. Also keep in mind that different YouTubers are going to do things a little bit differently with their channel. So this is just sort of how I do things and tips I'm sharing based off of my experiences. With that said, I have some notes ready to go, so let's just get into it. So I think before you really do anything else is you need to decide what type of channel do you want to do? Like, what subjects do you want to talk about? Obviously on YouTube there's a whole bunch of different categories and I guess genres of channels. Don't necessarily feel like you have to put yourself in a box and confine yourself to just talking about one particular topic. My channel, I would say as a whole, is a beauty channel. However, I do a series called Women Talk Wednesday where I just talk about different topics, you know, controversial things, pop culture, whatever, and it's kind of like a girl talk series. It has nothing to do with makeup or beauty or anything like that, but it's something that I like to talk about and it's something that I enjoy to do. And just because I post a makeup tutorial here and there and I talk about makeup and stuff doesn't mean that that's all I'm allowed to do. You know what I'm saying? So obviously you know what kind of things you're into, but just try to figure that out. Like, what do I want my channel to be? Do I want it to be like general lifestyle? Do I want to just do tutorials? Do I want to do like comedy sketches? What is it that you want to do? You need to decide when you're going to start your channel is what you want your name to be. A lot of people recently have just been using their name, their first and last name, or their nickname, or whatever. I think that's a safe way to go. Obviously, it's your channel, you can name it whatever the hell you want, but just something to take into consideration, especially if you do kind of want it to grow and expand in the future. I think keeping it something that's easy to remember and easy to spell and pronounce is a good idea. Also, if you have like a blog or a website or something like that and you want your YouTube channel to be connected to that, I would give them the same name, so that way you just have like one large platform on the internet. So once you actually have your channel set up and you have an idea of what you want your channel to be about, now you need to consider what kind of recording equipment you need to shoot your videos. If you really are into video production and you really want your videos to be like super high quality, and you have the money to invest in really good equipment, then go right ahead and do that, but don't feel like you have to do that. Yes, I think it's a good idea to have HD. Most cameras nowadays do shoot in HD anyway, just because, you know, everything is HD. So it's a good idea, but you don't have to necessarily have a big, fancy, expensive DSLR camera to have HD. You can just use a regular little point and shoot camera. That's what I used when I first started, and it worked fine. It's a little bit more annoying when you're trying to like record yourself because you can't see like the viewfinder and those kinds of things, but a tip for that, set up a mirror behind the camera so you can see and you can make sure it's recording and all those kinds of things. And as far as lighting, just film during the day if you can and just sit in front of a window. Natural lighting is always going to be the best lighting. I have artificial lights that I like to use, but I always prefer natural lighting over artificial no matter what. It just always looks the best. And getting a tripod is definitely helpful, but you don't even really need one. Before I had a tripod, I used to just stack up a bunch of like books and stuff and I would just place my camera on there. That works too. As long as you have some type of camera that you can record with and a window in a nicely lit room, then you're good to go, and that's really all you need getting started. As you start to get more into it, then of course, you know, you can get better equipment and whatnot, but don't necessarily feel overwhelmed like, oh my god, I have to spend like $1,000 on camera and lighting and all these things right away, because it's not really necessary. There are tons of really big YouTubers out there that still use point and shoot cameras. You definitely can get into YouTube and make really good quality videos without feeling like you need to spend a fortune and get a whole bunch of really like fancy expensive stuff. The next tip when you're first getting started is to make a couple of practice videos. I did this and My first couple of videos were still a little awkward, but it definitely helped a lot. If you're totally unfamiliar with video production and filming, and you're not used to speaking on camera and being in front of the camera, then I think practicing at first is going to be so helpful for you. Especially if you're going to be filming makeup tutorials, those are really tricky to make sure that you have it set up properly, that everything is in focus, that you're working at a good angle so that the camera can properly see what you're doing. So practice that. It's especially really helpful too if you're going to be doing videos where you're talking on camera. If you are a little camera shy or it's a little awkward, trust me, it took me a while to get comfortable, even though I'm not camera shy. But sitting in a room by yourself and just talking to a camera as if you're talking to a real person is really awkward, and you kind of feel dumb in the beginning. So definitely practice doing that and get used to it. And you don't have to post these practice videos, obviously. Just run through it and then watch it back and see where you can improve. Was the camera out of focus? Were you saying a lot? Were you talking really slow? Were you talking too quietly? And then just do it again and try to fix any mistakes you might have made the first time around, and just keep practicing at it until you feel like you are comfortable with the whole recording process. Now, moving on to editing. I know that's something that some people get kind of confused about. If you have a Windows computer, then you can download Windows Movie Maker for free. If you have a Apple computer, then iMovie should have just come with your computer for free. So those are two totally free programs that you can use, and they have all of your basics. So you don't necessarily have to go and purchase Final Cut or Sony Vegas or any of those expensive professional editing softwares. You can just use the free ones that come on your computer, and they work absolutely great. And if you are totally unfamiliar with editing, I would say just play around with it. Take one of your practice videos and just mess around with it. Practice, click around, see what certain buttons do, and you'll definitely be able to figure it out. Trust me. I've never tried Windows Movie Maker before, but I used to use iMovie, and it is so incredibly easy. If you can't figure out how to do something, then just Google it. That's the great thing about the internet. You can literally find a tutorial on anything. That's how I've taught myself a lot of the things that I know how to do on the computer, is just by doing a search for them. So if it seems like kind of intimidating at first, it's really not. Just don't worry about it. Just take your time, learn the software first, get comfortable and familiar with it before you start editing your very first video that you want to post. Because that's the other thing. You can have a really amazing, perfect, good quality video, but if you edit it really horribly, it's just not going to be that great as a whole. So take your time, practice, teach yourself. Now, when you're looking for music to add to videos, this is something that some people might not consider if you have never posted a YouTube video before, but you have to be really careful with the music you use, because if you use something that is copyrighted, like a song that's on the radio or just something that's a really popular song, it's most likely going to get flagged, and your video could either be taken down or whatever, and you can end up getting in trouble for that. So you want to be really careful. If you do want to use a popular song, what I'll do is I'll go on SoundCloud.com. I will just find a remixed version of that song, and usually that works okay. Otherwise, YouTube has an audio library where they have tons of different songs that you can use without worrying about copyright infringement, or you can just do a search for royalty-free music and you can use those in your videos. Now, for the thumbnail of your video, I know that's something that some people wonder about as well. There's a few different ways you could do that. You can actually just take a photo and use that. What I do, and I know a lot of other people do, is I will just, at the end of my video or beginning or whatever, I'll just pose however I want my thumbnail to look as I'm actually still recording. So like, whatever. And then I'll just go to that part of the video, pause it, find like the still that I like, and then I'll just take a screenshot of the screen. That way it's the correct dimensions, the correct size, everything. And then from there, if I want to add text or, you know, adjust the contrast or whatever, I'll go on PicMonkey, which is just a photo editing website, and that's where I do all of my things. So if you see a thumbnail with like a little circle with text or whatever, I do it all on there. So those are pretty much all of the technical things that I think you might need to know. There are two other little tips that I do want to mention though. Number one is if you should tell people about your channel. When I first started, I was kind of embarrassed about my channel. It's so stupid. So like my roommates had no idea. A lot of my friends didn't know about it, and I was really nervous. But let me tell you, if you're thinking about starting a channel, just be totally open about it, because number one, it's cool as hell, and most people will probably think it's cool. Some people might think it's weird, but who cares? It's so much easier to just get it out there and just make sure, especially if you live with other people, make sure they know, because if they hear you in your room just talking to yourself, they're gonna be like, is she mentally stable? What's going on? What are you doing? And trust me, it's a lot more awkward if someone happens to find one of your videos online and you've been keeping it a secret the whole time than if you just tell them up front. And my second piece of advice is try to be yourself as much as possible. I know when you're first starting out it's kind of difficult, because I know for me anyway, I didn't feel totally comfortable sitting in my room talking to a camera, so it was hard for me to let my personality show through. I was really timid, and I also didn't know how people were gonna perceive my videos, so it was a little bit, I guess, reserved and hesitant to like really just put it all out there. And that's totally understandable, but don't try to just mimic another YouTuber that you like. Don't try to just feel like, oh, well, I want to make a beauty channel, so let me just make hauls and tutorials and whatever, if that's not something that you're into. Like, don't post videos that you aren't passionate about and that you don't care about. And just try to be as genuine as you can, you know? There's already a Nicole Guerrero. There's already a Carly Bible. We don't need more of those people. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be yourself and just try to stay true to who you are and what you're passionate about. I think it's okay to be inspired by someone's style and the way that they create their videos. That's totally fine, but don't be a total copycat of someone. And then I guess to kind of go along with that, I also get asked a lot too, like, oh, well, how did you get discovered? How long did it take for your channel to start to grow? I wouldn't say that my channel is like really big by any means, and the bit of growth that I've got really all just happened really organically for me. I did not try to self-promote myself. I didn't spam popular YouTubers' channels. I didn't like use any false advertising with my thumbnails or my tags or anything like that. So that's why I'm saying like I can't really give you specific advice on that. But I just want to say, please don't worry about all of those things. Obviously, a lot of people, when you get into YouTube, you want to have viewers. You want people to be seeing your content, because even though it's fun to make, but it's a lot more rewarding when you actually are getting feedback on your content. So I totally get that, trust me. But if you go into it just because you're worried about the numbers and you want to become like really successful or YouTube famous, or you want to make money or get free products or whatever, I think it shows. Do you, but I'm just saying, I think that it's a lot more rewarding to just do it because you enjoy doing it. Those are pretty much all of my tips for any new YouTubers or people who are thinking about starting a channel. If you're hesitant about doing it because you're scared you're gonna get hate, or you're going to, I don't know, like not get that many subscribers or be that successful, who cares? Don't worry about that stuff. If you enjoy it and it's something that you're passionate about, then just do it. Honestly, it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. I love making YouTube videos. I love the people I've met through it. I love everything about it. If you have any other questions or anything that you would like more advice on, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'll also put the link in the description to my Tumblr page, so if you want to go and ask me an anonymous question, you can do so there. I'll also put a link down below to one of my first videos ever, so that you can see how I've evolved over time. I really hope that you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. You see my little baby in the background? Psst, psst. Welcome back to another Women Talk Wednesday. I've gotten a few requests to talk about hate comments and how I deal with it. So I guess I'll just